Turbo Conquering Mega Eagle. Alright folks, how you doing? Oh, okay. Alright, so this is the introductory video for the homemade dump truck Mark II build series. Yeah, I spent the last since Mark I failed. I've spent the last 2 months accumulating bits and thinking about how I want to do this. You know, I set myself a little brief. I've tidied up the workshop. Look at the state of this place. I bet you lot have never seen it. No, just ignore that bit of mess down there. Never seen it so clean. There is a giant slingshot there, but apart from that, yeah, we're all pretty tidy. Even clean the lathe down. Old Brownie got a bit of spit and polish. Yeah, so this is all obviously working towards starting on the underground bunker again, you know, and again, like the dump truck, we're going to start from scratch with the bunker, but I want to get all my ducks whack in a row, so what? So they're ready to go. Yeah, you know, I don't have to take a lot of time out of digging a hole to make a new dump truck. We'll get the dump truck, and we're going to make an epic crane as well, ahead of the commencement of work starting on the hole again. And the thing is, I haven't got evenings at the minute. Like, I've got evenings in here, right, but I can't work past like 5 o'clock outside, can I? Because it gets dark. So you know, I'll get those bits tidied up, and then we'll get back onto the hole, which is the whole point of this dump truck. It'll have other uses as well, I'm sure. You know, like, everyone wants a dump truck, don't you? Like, I imagine the number of times every day you think to yourself, like, oh, alright, you know, I could really do a homemade dump truck right now, yeah? You know, it happens an awful lot, more than you might think. Anyway, what are we on, folks? Yeah, I've got some really exciting little bits here. I've got some wheels and tyres off an old quad bike, and the guy selling them was also getting rid of these front suspension arms as well. So they're not a single pivot. So what we're saying, the hubs, the angle of the hub changes with the arms. They're not great for high speed, but we're not going to go very fast. They seem quite robust. Again, that's the front end, so they're not going to have a huge amount of weight over them anyway. Just my fat ass. Power plant, very exciting. And let's go through these bits individually on the other bench, so we don't get distracted by this array of shite. But yeah, well, power plant, bits of metal, bottle jack, reverse gearbox, constantly variable transmission, prop shaft off a tractor, and one of the bits that I'm most excited about is the diff. But let's have a little look at the engine. So very excited about this engine. It's a Lonkin, so it's a Honda clone, but they're one of the better Honda clones. I mean, if you've had pit bikes and that, I'm sure you're familiar with Lonkin and Lifan. They're the better quality Honda rip-offs, and you can tell. Look at that lovely ergonomic pull start. But apart from that, yeah, everything's rolled over nicely on the edge. Like, if you see the really cheap clones, they got like the sheet metal's never finished off. It's all got a razor edge. This was cheap because it's got a 20mm shaft. So I'm gonna have to turn that down. Which, if you saw my my last video, like I bought an incredibly cheap one. It only ended up costing me 18 quid because it arrived damaged. But and I just threw the crankshaft in the lathe and just resized that output. I need 3/4 inch, yeah, so this is 20mm, so I just have to give it a little skim, and it's good to go. The other cool bits about this though is it's kind of an industrial version of the GX200. So it's got this lovely canister type air filter. Like, normally they just have a little foam filter sat here. This has got a proper paper filter in it. I think it's paper anyway. It is. Oh yeah, it's paper overwrapped with foam. So this is like a proper little air filter, isn't it? And what and a nice muffler on it as well. So it's just another little bonus. The thing with this, the only thing with this is it obviously doesn't have a fuel tank, but that's quite good because this is going to go underneath the seat as I did in my original. No, that's a bit of a pain to get back on. The original dump truck build where I sat on the engine, but if I do the same with this, it means I can get the seat a little bit lower and put the fuel tank somewhere else. There we go. Which would be nice. Ah, you flaming glare. I will get this back on. It kills me. Come on, stop dicking around. Just bloody go on there. Oh, there we go. That sounded. Okay, I'll do that off camera. Okay, so to have a fuel tank that doesn't have to be even hard in this, I've got a little fuel pump to go with it. Genuine Marlboro fuel pump. Oh, my camera's fogging up. Bugger, it always happens. Always happens right when I'm in the middle of a yarn. Mexico, Marlboro, genuine Marlboro fuel pump. We're going to make a fuel tank. Came with a free fuel filter as well, which is handy. That's good. This pump works off vacuum, yeah. So I've got to tap into the inlet manifold or the inlet port and put a hose there. But that's pretty easy. That should be all right. And I'll probably remote mount the air filter and muffler as well, just so I can get the seat down a bit lower and you know, I think it looks really cool when you got the canister type air filter on your front mudguard like some military vehicles. So we'll try and do that perhaps. Okay, this next pile of bits is half the driveline components. So the gearbox we're going to use is a constantly variable transmission. I think you call them go-kart torque converters in the States, but you know, bolts on the engine and engine bolts this side. That's the drive pulley. This is the driven pulley back here. Now what I want to do, this is a fairly common in the West, I suppose. These ones are on mini bikes and go-karts and that. These next couple of bits are pretty specialised, and you'll only see them in like China and places like that. They're these are components to turn a motorcycle, a small CC motorbike into a trike. Yeah, and they're really popular over there. Like, you know, if you can't afford a car, you take a motorbike and turn it into a trike, and you can carry pigs and bricks and things around in the back of it. A bit like you know, it's like the Chinese rednecks vehicle, you know, I suppose. So this is a reverse box, and this is normally bolt on the side of a motorbike engine. So it's got the spline, and if you're familiar with motorbike engines, you'll know that's what the sprocket on a motorbike engine is normally splined, and this actually just bolts straight onto a. This is meant for a 250 engine, but what I'm going to try and do is mount this on the torque converter like that, I suppose. So we've got we've got no other shafts. This will be driven directly by the torque converter. That's my aim. This is pretty cool in itself. Obviously, if you've got a motorbike and you're turning it into a trike, which you want to carry a load with, you want lower gearing. So the forward gear has I think it's 0.8. So one revolution in, you get 0.8 of a revolution out the back end. But then the reverse gear is even lower. It's much lower. It's 0.6 or something like that. So which is excellent for what I want to do. And then the pièce de résistance, the bit that got me looking on Alibaba in the first place, was looking for a diff. Yeah, and what, years and years of waiting for everyone to go home and buggering around on grass airfields in my evenings on whatever vehicle I can lay my hands on has taught me that, you know, if you don't want to get in trouble, you know, you need a differential, like lock diffs and no diffs at all. You know, get you in trouble when there's grass involved. Yeah. So I went looking for the diff, and again this is off those little trikes that they like to make out there. It's beautiful. It does mean that I've got to make some spline shafts up. You can get the whole axle, but I didn't really want to do that because it's got drum brakes built into it, and that means I couldn't use quad tyres, and I had to mess around with the bolt pattern. And like where this looks quite nice and chunky, the rest of the axle does look a bit weak. So figured we'll make the rest of it up ourselves. Yeah, this is it's all come off. It didn't come off Alibaba. What happened was and that's another. Sorry, that's another. Can't remember what the ratio of this is. Basically 3 revolutions, or four revolutions in and 1 revolution out, I think. Anyway, so I got an Alibaba, and I don't know if you've seen it, but it's like a industrial Chinese eBay basically, yeah. But whereas eBay makes its money by sellers' fees, what Alibaba does is arrange the shipping, yeah. So the guy who made it is like one of the richest people in China or something. He makes a lot of money, so I don't feel guilty about what I did next, which is basically I went looking for this diff, yeah, and you can message the company. So I did that and said, you know, I want to get a couple of diffs, and I did get a few other bits as well. But he said, yeah, that's great. Best price is 25 quid or $25 US, I think it was, which is, you know, even less in pounds sterling. So yeah, I said, yeah, great. What's the shipping? And he came back with like 50 quid and that, because it's quite heavy, because it's cast iron, you know. You know, it's way too expensive, can't buy it. And he goes, oh mate, oh no, call this number. So I called a number. Sorry, I shouldn't do impressions, should I? I won't do any more. Called him up, and he's like, you know, you pay me directly. I'm like, no, fuck that, mate. You're just gonna take my money and go and buy some noodles or something, innit? So I said, you know, do you have eBay in that? He said, no, he didn't, but he can get it listed on eBay. So that's what we did. And because Chinese companies can get free postage basically, which is you might have seen it. You know, big stuff coming from China on eBay, and it'll be free postage. And you think, yeah, it must be in the price or something, but it's a government-run scheme. So out there, the government just want to get as much goods as possible out of China and as much money coming in. So they for some companies they'll give you free postage and that. So I ended up getting a couple of these diffs and a chain-driven diff, the gearbox and the torque converter, 0 postage. Which was mad. Not for Alibaba. I eBayed it in the end, but I got hold of this bloke through Alibaba. So if you're trying to do something on Alibaba, I suggest you give that a go. And if someone offers you their number, certainly if I can call it, and you might end up getting free postage, which makes everything on there incredibly cheap. The only reason it isn't cheap is because of the postage, which is basically Alibaba's fee as well. Because I mean, you can't after this, I can't believe that that he needs to make that much money. But that's why he's one of the richest men in China, basically, because he's matching the price everyone pays, and you know, for the goods with the postage. Yeah, really happy, and definitely advise if you want to do purchasing straight from China to try it like that, because you can't get in trouble. I'm pretty sure you definitely don't discuss it on Alibaba. If they give you a number, call that number, but I wouldn't discuss it on Alibaba, because I'm pretty sure the seller would get in trouble. They'd probably get hung or something, you know, or sent to the gulag. But you know, as someone in England, like with a collection of homemade crossbows, if they come for me, I'm only joking. Anyway, so that's the front half of the drivetrain, yeah. CVT, gearbox and diff, yeah. I should have got a prop shaft with the kit. Then it would have had all the splines all lined up and that, and it would have been great. But I didn't. Yeah, and you know, perhaps I could have gone back and ordered one, but in the end, what I did for the prop shaft was just get a. This is a PTO shaft for a tractor, but this is an old pattern one, so you'd have seen this on very small old tractors, like from the 50s or whatever. But it's a modern manufactured, and my mate got this for me locally because he's in a tractor shop. So you basically got a huge spline. Yeah, you can tell these are old patterns. And this runs the length of the shaft, so I can have this any length I like, which was one of the deciding factors because all the shafts I could buy off Alibaba, and they were cheap. You know, they were probably about the same sort of price. To be honest, I paid 25 quid for this, and the prop shafts on Alibaba were about the same sort of price. Difference being they bolted straight onto what I've got. This I haven't got to worry about the length because the whole shaft is spline, so you know it will still work if it's set. I think it's 700mm compressed, and it goes out to about a bit over a metre extended, and it will work at any length. So I've not got to worry about cutting the shaft, which is what I would have had to do on the Chinese ones because they were all really long. Yeah, but it does mean I'm going to have to make up some ends for this, which is going to be a challenge, but I'm sure it's possible, doable, all the rest. This plastic's going to come off. This is just a shroud for when you're using it on a tractor. You don't want to go like lean on it and have your arm chopped off. Plenty of people have done it, haven't they? I'm sure we all know people that have had become entangled in farm equipment, and it's not nice, is it? So everything gets sold with these plastic covers on it now. But I'll be taking it off because underneath a homemade dump truck, I don't suppose it's going to be a very big risk to my arm, is it? Then the last bit I'm going to show you is my £5 bottle jack. Yeah, this is something I wanted to try for a long time. Is taking a bottle jack and dissecting it and having all the components remote to each other. Yeah, so with this particular instance, obviously I want the jack itself underneath the tipping bed behind me, but I want the pump next to my seat so I can sit there and pump it up. I'm only going to be carrying what 300 kilos tops, probably something like that. If I'm really eager, if I'm feeling very adventurous. So as long as I don't have the this will lift 300 kilos. This will have to lift it very close to the pivot though. That's the thing of a short stroke like this. Unless, yeah, no, it will have to lift it very close to the pivot. So there will be quite a lot of strain on it. But I think this should be a fun way of trying to tip the bed. I'll talk about the whole brief of this tipper truck. I don't want any added complexity. Yeah, so I would have preferred it if I could have a gravity tip like the old the little old dump trucks that we have in England. I'm sure everyone from England knows what I'm talking about. I don't know if they're that common overseas and that, but you know, they're very, very tiny manoeuvrable dump trucks. Normally had a little single cylinder diesel in them. Dab, 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 dab. You know, like, and Land Rover wheels they always used to have on them and that. And a lot of them just had a gravity tip, which is fine. They have really, really deep buckets, though, very short, deep buckets. And I don't want something like that because that also means you've got to have a bit of width. I don't want the width, so that means I can't have a tall bucket. Otherwise, I'll be tippy. I'll have a high centre of gravity, won't I? So I've got to have to carry the same amount of material, I have to have a much longer bed, which means that I can't. Having a gravity system would be very difficult. Yeah, I mean, I'd have to have the pivot like sort of halfway along the bed, and then the bottom of the bed would have to be clear where it's tipping. You know, so it doesn't hit the ground. So that'd be the worst thing, to have the whole thing hung up, have it tipped as far as it will go, but still nothing's come out of it, and then you're stuck, aren't you? You've got to get out and shovel it. So but I want to keep it as simple as possible. So I don't want gravity, and I want it as simple as possible. Same with the engine. I don't want any electrics or engine-driven hydraulics or anything like that will definitely go wrong. I want everything done properly and just the minimum maintenance and maximum robustness, which is why I want shaft drive rather than chain drive, because there are chain drive diffs available. I did get one. Do you want to see it? I'll show it to you because it's pretty cool. Yeah, this is the little chain drive diff I got as well. Tenner. I can't not. I mean, I spent my life looking for little differentials for projects like this, and now they're available so cheap to me that I got a discount because I bought a bunch of stuff. So I got basically the diff, the gearbox, the torque converter, and he wasn't selling the torque converter, but when I said I wanted one, he found one and sold it to me. So he probably bought that elsewhere. But same with the chain diff. And came with wasn't even expecting. It came with a free chain ring as well. It's pretty cool. I don't know why. Oh yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So chain diffs were available, and it would have been much easier to use a chain reverse box as well, which again are available. But I didn't want any chain. Definitely underneath the vehicle, I just want shafts and that. Zero maintenance stuff. Although obviously a prop shaft, I've got to put a grease gun on it every now and again, once in a while, and that. But compared with a chain, minimal effort and maintenance, especially if there's UJs and splines on it. Alignment doesn't matter and all that. Just a much better mechanical solution, to the problem. And I'm going to have a wet axle, so obviously the diff's always got oil in it, and my half shafts will as well. Although I use sealed bearings, I've got the good what do you call them? Angular bearings. Nice ones. Didn't cheap out on the bearings for the axle either. I got O-rings to seal the axle up. Good quality bearings. Complete overkill. Yeah. So I'll never have to worry about these things wearing out. Basically, I will have to worry about the seals getting knackered. So I'll do my best to. I've already designed it all anyway. It's all on paper already. But so hopefully my shielding keeps the worst of the muck off the bearing seals. I think that's pretty much it. I did get obviously I got a metal delivery. I got from the same people that I've been buying the iron balls off to fire out of catapults. I bought a load of box. I'm just going to do the chassis and box. I'm not that worried about it being really light, as you can tell by the parts that I'm using. So I just want it heavy duty, and box I've always found a lot easier to work with. If you're joining things to it, box is just the easiest, neatest way to go, isn't it? Like the tube and that, I suppose you get a bit fussy and ends up looking a bit messy in the end. I think sometimes the tube, personally, anyway. So I've got the rest of the steel. I've got some sheet, and I've got some big bar stock to turn the bearing housings out of. A bit of tube. And the rest of it I can cover with the scrap that I've got floating around here. Yeah. I think I still don't know what colour to paint it. I am quite liking the idea of camouflaging it, actually. Like going for a military vehicle theme, but that's been done to death, isn't it? So maybe I'll just choose classic plant machinery colours. Obviously yellow. No, I can't do yellow. That's been done to death as well, isn't it? Mr. JCB's kind of ruined yellow for everyone else, isn't he? Oh, him and Mr. Caterpillar, obviously. Sorry. Anyway, so that's it. So it should be a very, very exciting project. But I certainly with the axle, it's going to take me ages to do the axle. So what I thought is do an intro video, explain the parts I'm using, explain what I want to do with this vehicle. And that way, the questions and that will arise. Hopefully I've already answered a few of them. And obviously if I haven't answered the questions, ask me in the comments as always. But yeah, then on the build videos, I don't have to talk, do I? I can just build it, and that I might talk over the top, whatever. I don't know. We'll see. Just to explain what I'm doing and why again on the individual components. That's it. Yeah. And then once this is done, we'll build a crane, and then once the crane's done, hopefully we've got our evenings back. The clocks have changed, and we can get digging a hole again for the underground bunker. But yeah. Okay. Hope you found this interesting, and I'm sure you'll all be absolutely eagerly anticipating the the coming videos of this dump truck. All right. Yeah. Take it easy, folks. Hope you're well. Bye.